Hey guys, it's Nicole and I'm back and I'm going to show you another Workbox Wednesday. What's in my 4-year-old and 6-year-old's work boxes for the next 2 weeks, so stay tuned. Okay, so jumping into the math workbox for my 6-year-old. So the math workboxes are the red ones at the top. For each of them, we have Singapore Math 2A as always. This is a free printable that I found online from Smiling and Shining in 2nd grade. It's a great blog. And this is just some time-telling review and some basic math addition and subtraction review with renaming or regrouping, or as we called it when we were growing up, we called it carrying and borrowing. So Common Core, new words, new terms, but pretty much I got these. I laminated them so that he can wipe them off and we can reuse them again next year for his brother. And it's just a good little review. We are talking about linear equivalents in measurements, centimeters to inches, inches to feet, and how many feet equal a mile. So this is the Math for Classical Conversations, and I made this anchor chart last year when we were talking about it, and we're going to use it this year. And then in this notebook here, I have some questions for him to answer using this referenced anchor chart. Lisa's pencil is 6 inches long. How many centimeters is Lisa's pencil? Mike is 5 feet tall. How many inches? And Corey walked 4 miles. How many feet? So what he's going to do is, with my assistance, he's going to start to learn how to convert inches and centimeters and things like that. So using his anchor chart. Another activity that we love, which he asked for again in his workbox, is Meteor Math, which is a multiplication and division review game that I got from the Dollar Tree. We are not on division yet, so we're doing it for multiplication, and I play against him, and we have lots of fun with that. If you see us on Instagram, you've seen that we've played this before together. And then again from last time, we have more of these flashcards that are fraction flashcards. They came from a set that I talked about in my last video, so I gave him another 8 or 10 of them for this this segment for his math workbox for the next 2 weeks. And then we went back to these. These are awesome. These are word problems for telling time, and there's a little reference chart for certain events that he's supposed to use to reference to solve the word problems. For example, your big sister is a member of the book club. It takes 25 minutes to walk to the library from your house. What time should your sister leave home to get to the meeting on time? So it talks about what time the library opens and closes and the activity. So he's supposed to solve the problems based on this information. And there's also a little clock here that he can use to help him out. In the Language Arts workbook, we continue on with Language Arts 2 and our Christian Light Education. He's on his 3rd book for that one, 3rd workbook. And he has his writing prompts journal from Lakeshore Learning for grades 1 to 2, which is great because it gives you a topic to write about, and then he will just go into detail about it. And they even have, sometimes they have a word bank for words that they want him to include in whatever he's writing, or they have questions also. So what he would do is just write the picture and make sentences using the words in the word bank. And this right here, these are just some noun cards. Really, it's from a game, but I only used, it's a Spanish-English matching game, but I only used the English ones because I just wanted him to randomly select a noun. And then what he would do is go into this notebook here, and I have him playing what I call it a 120-second game. Pretty much, he has 120 seconds or 2 minutes to write as many properly written sentences that he can about the noun that he selects. So he just likes things that he's being timed with, and so I threw that aspect in there just to make it a little bit more fun. So that's what he will do every couple of days after he finishes his Christian Light education and does a writing prompt. He will go into playing this game, 120 seconds, as many sentences as possible. So as always, we have our Classical Conversations notebook with the printables. We're doing week 14 and cycle 1. I create these printables, and again, if you're interested, you can just ask in the comment section below. Pretty much this week, what are we doing in Classical Conversations? We're talking about what are the 3 kinds of rock, and I will insert a picture below where we did a science experiment where we created the 3 types of rock using crayon shavings. And then we're doing geography, ancient Africa. We're actually making salt dough Africas, the continent of Africa that we're going to be painting, and I'll insert a picture now. Then we're doing our linear equivalents, Latin noun cases, and we're learning about Lorenzo Ghiberti and his art. And also helping verbs, the do, does, and did. And for history, we're learning about Songhai, the Songhai, Zanj, and Zimbabweans. So that's what we're doing for week 14 for Classical Conversations. Again, if you're interested in these notebooking pages, definitely comment in the description box. And I will try my best to direct message you and get your email address and send it to you. So for the review game, because that's usually what's in the CC drawer, is the notebooking pages in a review game, we're going to be doing tic-tac-toe. And I created this by simply making a tic-tac-toe board out of a ice tray. This is a silicone ice tray from IKEA, and I used wooden blocks that we already had on hand, and I just drew X's and O's in permanent marker because we have tons of these kinds of blocks. And so each player gets 5 blocks, and what we'll do is, here's the review book, the flip book of all of our memory work for the entire 24 weeks. Right now we're at week 14, so we're actually reviewing the previous 6 weeks. Usually that's what we do. So right now we're going to be doing weeks 7 through 12 for review for this game. And what we're going to do is, when he rolls the first die, that tells me the topic. Okay, so for number 3, the topic is actually, sorry, this is out of focus. The topic is math is 1, history is 2, and geography. So 3 is geography, and then he rolls the die with the higher number, and it tells me the week 11. So he'll be doing week 11 geography. So I'll just flip in the flip book to week 11 geography, and I'll ask him the question, tell me about the Byzantine Empire, and he has to say Constantinople, Istanbul, Rome, Athens, Ephesus, and Antioch. He has to answer them correctly in order for him to even get a turn on this board. So he would put one of his pieces in if he answers correctly, and then so on and so forth. Then it'll be my turn, and if I answer correctly, I get to place a piece in here. So this is our review game for this week in our Classical Conversations drawer or workbox. Okay, so in the elective drawer, we're doing some new things this time. We still have our Bible and our social studies from Christian Light Education, as well as this activity for putting the books of the Old Testament in order. I've added some new books from last week. So he literally is putting the literal books of the Bible in chronological order for Old Testament, as he's working on the Old Testament in his Bible workbook. And then he has his social studies workbook, which he's continuing in. And then what I've done is I've just simply cut out and printed out YouTube. And I just laminated it, so there's still parts of it that are still needing to be cut out, but pretty much this will be an option. And then we have the STEM challenge, which this is a printable, and I will list in the description box below, that I found, where there's these STEM sticks here, and on each of the STEM sticks there is a challenge for him to make something. So it says STEM stick on one side, and then he will draw a stick, and it would have instructions: use the available materials to design and build a miniature wheelbarrow. And so what I have done is I have assembled a few items just around the house, like pipe cleaners, rubber bands, a few Lego blocks, and just random paper, index cards, tape, and I will show you that in a whole nother video about the STEM challenge. So what he will do is draw a STEM stick, and what he will do is first map out what it is that it is. He's going to write down what they asked him to do. He's going to imagine or brainstorm what he's going to do. He's going to write a plan about it. He's going to go ahead and draw a picture of what he did, and he's going to think about ways that he can improve what it is that he created. So he'll be able to do that once a week with his STEM challenge stick. So I thought that was really cool. And for YouTube, I have a variety of playlists that I have compiled for him to watch on STEM related items as well, because I'm trying to incorporate a lot more STEM into his world now that he is 6 and he's going on 7, and I really want him to get more hands-on with the STEM activities. And then for reading, he's doing Boxcar Children Mystery Ranch, and he'll be writing a book report, or he'll be mapping the story in his Lakeshore Learning Reader's book log. So that's the end of my 6-year-old's workbox for the next 2 weeks. In my 4-year-old's math workbox, I have his kindergarten mathematics for Singapore math, book A. I have his Kumon My Numbers 1 through 20 books for math and counting activities up to 120. Then I have this math rummy game, which is by Leapfrog. I'm not playing it properly because I don't have the instructions, so we made up our own rules. Pretty much he will draw one of these cards. I'll have a plus sign in the middle. He will draw a card, then I'll draw a card, and then what he will do is these bugs will actually be out on the table, and he'll have to put the number of bugs into the jar, and then he'll pour it out and total it to get the amount. So if he draws a 1, he'll put 1 bug in the jar. If I draw a 3, he'll put 3 bugs in the jar. 1 plus 3 equals, and to find out, he has to dump his bugs, his chameleons, his little squirmy things that you can catch in a jar, all those little things. He will put them in his jar and dump them out and find out what the answer is. Then he still has his snowmen that he's counting by 2 up to 40. So skip counting by 2s up to 40. And finally, I have this math game, the Add It game from Confessions of a Homeschooler, that I have recently laminated and put together. And pretty much there'll be an addition problem here that he'll place, and then I will give him some manipulatives, most likely some counting bears, and he'll put, if it's 2 plus 5, and the problems are in here, if it's 2 plus 5, he'll put 2 bears here, 5 bears here, and then he will gather them all at the bottom to get the answer so that he can figure out his math problems with this file folder activity. So for his language arts for my 4-year-old, he has these these blends activities here that I got from Life Overseas. So pretty much he's going to match up all these little words or images for words that start with the certain blend categories. For example, this is broom, so it'll go in BR. Dragon will go in DR, friend FR, and sting ST. So he put that here, and so there are quite a few of them that will go under each category, and they're all in here. Then he's continuing with his in words, and he's moving on to his IP words for his word families. Then he's going to be doing these 4 sight word file folder games, which he uses the Play-Doh, his dry erase markers, and his letter tiles to learn how to spell and write the sight words. And then he'll be doing his handwriting without tears, letters and numbers for me workbook. For my 4-year-old's elective workbox, he will be working on these sight word readers from the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, My Plate curriculum. He gets to color these in. So actually, I think this is his 3-year-old brother's book got thrown in here, but there's one for dairy, a sight words book, a vegetable sight words book, general My Plate sight words book, a grain sight words book, a fruit sight words book, and a protein foods sight words book. So we'll go over those. He will read them and we will color them in as we learn about different food groups. I have this United States Activity Atlas, which is a dry erase book. This is by Pretty Books, and I love their dry erase books. He absolutely loves these wipe clean books. So we'll be learning about all the states in the United States, and it's just really cool for him to be able to just, I'll work with him in filling in and completing these things and learning more about the states. And then I have this also from the USDA My Plate curriculum. We'll be learning about certain vegetables. This one will be working on crookneck squash. So we're reading activities about them, and we'll be preparing a meal that contains crookneck squash. So I know he's really going to enjoy that as well. So that's for his elective drawer or workbox. And finally, for my reading workbox for my 4-year-old, we continue with the Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, as well as just tracking it with his yellow folder. And we'll be doing some reading from these 2 books, Dick and Jane, Go Away Spot, and We Play. I love these readers because they reiterate a lot of the sight words that he already knows and introduces new words as well. And so he can read quite a few of these sentences, and some of the words that he doesn't know, I just point out to him. So I like to start him off with reading the Dick and Jane books. Then we go into a lesson to teach your child how to read in 100 easy lessons. And that is pretty much it for my 4-year-old's workboxes for the next 2 weeks. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed our Workbox Wednesday, one day late edition for the next 2 weeks for my 6-year-old and 4-year-old. If you have any questions or comments and would like to know where I got some of these resources, definitely comment in the comment box below, and we will see you next time. Bye.